Imagine locking away your phone, cutting off Netflix, muting Spotify, saying no to junk food, and avoiding almost every single thing that makes your brain light up with pleasure. Sounds a little extreme, right? Well, I did it for 7 full days. And let me tell you, the results weren't just surprising, they were terrifying. Curries. What even is a dopamine detox? Before I dive into what happened, let's rewind a little. The term dopamine detox sounds fancy, almost clinical. But in reality, it's not a medical process. It's more like an experiment in discipline. The idea is simple. Dopamine is the feel-good chemical in your brain. Every time you scroll through TikTok, eat a donut, or even hear the ding of a notification, your brain gets a little hit of dopamine. Over time, these constant hits can make us crave more and more stimulation. It's like turning the volume up on your brain's pleasure center until silence feels unbearable. The detox is supposed to reset you, kind of like turning the volume back down so you can enjoy simple things again. Sounds harmless, even smart, right? That's what I thought too. Setting the rules. I decided to go all in for 7 days. My rules were strict. No social media. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, gone. No streaming. Netflix, Prime, even just one episode of a show. No music or podcasts. Silence in the car, silence on walks. No junk food. Goodbye chips, sweets, and late-night pizza. No video games. Minimal phone use. Only for work calls and emergencies. Basically, I stripped my life of almost every quick dopamine fix. What was left? Reading, writing, walking, eating plain, simple meals, sitting with my thoughts. I thought, this is going to be peaceful. I'll feel enlightened like a monk. Spoiler, I was wrong. Day 1. The jitters. The first day felt like quitting coffee cold turkey. My fingers kept twitching toward my phone. I'd pick it up, unlock it, stare at the blank home screen, and then realize there was nothing to do. I didn't even know where to put my hands. I thought silence would feel calming, but instead it felt heavy, like static buzzing in the air. Without music in the background, my own thoughts screamed louder. And let me tell you, when you're used to drowning them out with playlists and podcasts, hearing your brain unfiltered is not fun. I went to bed that night restless, itching for distraction. Day 2. The craving. By day 2, I realized something scary. I wasn't just bored. I was craving. My brain was literally begging for stimulation. I caught myself imagining the little red notification bubble on Instagram like it was candy. I wanted it so badly it almost felt physical. It hit me then. I wasn't as in control of my habits as I like to believe. I always told myself I could quit scrolling whenever I wanted. Turns out, my brain had other plans. That realization? Terrifying. Day 3. The mirror. By the 3rd day, the craving slowed and something else crept in. Reflection. With no shows, no scrolling, no noise, I had nothing to do but sit with myself. And that's when I realized just how often I'd been using distraction to avoid, well, me? I thought about the projects I'd been too busy to start. I thought about relationships I hadn't been present in. I thought about conversations I'd avoided because they felt uncomfortable. And the scariest thought of all? Maybe the system isn't designed to keep me distracted. Maybe I've been doing that to myself. Day 4. The drop. Day 4 was rough. Imagine standing in front of a mirror that never turns off. That's what it felt like. Without the comfort of background noise, I noticed every insecurity, every regret, every unfinished dream. I couldn't run away from them. There was no escape hatch, no glowing screen to pull me out. For the first time in years, I had to actually sit in the discomfort. That night, I wrote in a journal. I didn't want to, but it felt like the only outlet left. I scribbled pages and pages of thoughts that had been stuck inside me, thoughts I'd drowned out with endless scrolling for months. Day 5. The clarity. Something shifted on day 5. It was like the fog started to lift. The silence wasn't unbearable anymore. It felt clean. For the first time, I noticed how loud the birds were outside my window. I noticed how food tasted when I wasn't shoveling it in while watching YouTube. I read a book and actually absorbed it. I took a walk and didn't feel the need to pull out my phone even once. My brain wasn't frantically searching for the next hit. Was this what calm felt like? I wasn't sure if it was peace or just my system finally shutting down after days of withdrawal. Day 6. The highs and lows. By day 6, I started to swing between extremes. One moment, I felt euphoric, like I'd cracked some secret code to life. The next, I felt lonely, restless, desperate for something, anything to break the monotony. The highs were incredible. I could focus deeply. I had ideas for projects I hadn't thought about in years, but the lows? They were brutal. It felt like I was detoxing from a drug. And maybe in a way, I was. Day 7. The terrifying truth. The final day arrived, and here's where the real terror hit me. I realized how dependent I had been, how dependent we all are. My brain wasn't just used to dopamine hits, it was built around them. Every empty moment of my day had been filled with stimulation. Without it, I felt exposed, almost raw. And here's the worst part. After 7 days, I didn't feel like I had conquered it. I didn't feel cured. I felt humbled. I saw how powerful the pull of distraction really was, how much of my life I'd been handing over to mindless habits. That scared me more than anything. Shuck. What I learned, what did the 7-day dopamine detox actually teach me? 3 big things. 1. We're addicted more than we think. Most of us like to believe we can quit our habits whenever we want. But the cravings I felt proved otherwise. Our devices and apps are designed to hook us, and it's working. 2. Discomfort is the doorway. The boredom, the restlessness, the awkward silence, they weren't fun, but they forced me to face truths I'd been avoiding. Growth doesn't come from comfort, it comes from sitting in the hard stuff. 3. Balance, not extremes. Cutting everything off. Cold turkey was intense, maybe too intense. But I realized I don't need to live like a monk to reset my brain. I just need boundaries, like no phone at dinner, no screens before bed, or intentional days offline. Would I do it again? Yes and no. I wouldn't do a full week without music, streaming, or treats again. It was harsh. But shorter mini detoxes? Absolutely. Even one day unplugged can feel like hitting a reset button. The terrifying part wasn't the detox itself. It was realizing how much control I'd handed over to distraction without even noticing. That realization still sticks with me. Got it. You want the same exact content and flow, but expanded and enriched so it feels fuller, more vivid, more human. No new ideas, no cuts, just more depth and storytelling texture. Here's the expanded version. Spout for furries. Why this matters for you. You don't need to lock yourself away for 7 straight days to feel what I felt. You don't have to disappear into monk-level isolation or cut out every single joy in your life to see the truth for yourself. You can test this experiment in the simplest, most approachable way possible, starting right now, exactly where you are. Try this. Turn off your phone and leave it in another room for just a few hours. Eat one meal with no glowing screen in front of you, no scrolling between bites, no background video filling the silence. Go for a walk or sit in your room in absolute quiet for 10 uninterrupted minutes. No music, no podcasts, no noise to keep your mind occupied. Then really pay attention to what happens. Notice how quickly your brain starts begging for stimulation, like a child pulling at your sleeve. Notice how your hand instinctively twitches toward your pocket, almost without permission, muscle memory dragging you back to the device you swore you wouldn't touch. Notice the flood of thoughts that rush in when the noise finally fades. The ones you've been too busy, too overstimulated, or too distracted to actually hear. That's where the truth lives. That's where the uncomfortable but deeply powerful stuff starts showing up. It's in those moments of silence where the questions you've been avoiding creep in, where the realizations you've been dodging start to reveal themselves. And yes, it's uncomfortable at first. But that discomfort is the doorway. And here's the real kicker. This so-called detox isn't about punishment. It's not about deprivation, about stripping away everything that makes life enjoyable, or about proving to yourself how disciplined you can be. At its core, it's about something far more important: choice. It's about asking yourself who's actually in control. Is it you, or is it the endless feed of distractions designed with surgical precision to keep you hooked, swiping, scrolling, craving more? When you strip those distractions away, even just for a short while, you see the answer clearly. And once you've seen it, it's almost impossible to forget. Final hook and CTA. The 7-day dopamine detox shook me to my core in ways I never expected. It peeled back the surface layers of my habits, those tiny, everyday routines I once believed were harmless, and forced me to stare directly at the truth hidden beneath them. It revealed just how fragile my focus really was, how deeply and unconsciously my cravings had been wired into my brain, and how disturbingly uncomfortable true silence felt when there was no escape hatch, no screen, no distraction to run to. Every time I instinctively reached for something that wasn't there, every time I sat in that strange emptiness instead of smothering it with noise, it became painfully clear. I hadn't been in control for a long time. And yet, hidden inside that raw, almost unbearable discomfort was something I didn't expect to find: a glimpse of freedom. A rare, fleeting taste of what life could be when it isn't run by constant craving and endless scrolling. The realization that beyond the habits, beyond the buzzing notifications, beyond the numbing background noise, there's another way to live. A way that's quieter, simpler, but infinitely more real. And that realization still sends chills down my spine every single time I think about it. If you've ever felt like you're drowning in distraction, like your attention is being pulled in 100 directions and none of them are truly your own, maybe it's time to try your own experiment. You don't need to go all out for a full week. You don't need to shut yourself away or push life to an extreme. You can start small, right here, right now, today. Try it for just an afternoon. Put your phone down. Step away from the endless noise. Sit in the silence and wait to see what shows up. Notice what happens when you strip away the distractions, even for a short stretch of time. Notice how your brain reacts, how your body feels, how your thoughts shift when the usual flood of stimulation isn't there. Pay attention to the truths that bubble up when you stop running from them. Because it's in that quiet, often awkward and uncomfortable space that the most honest answers finally rise to the surface. And those answers? They're the ones you've been needing to hear. So don't let this story end with me. Don't let it be something you read, nod along with, and then forget the moment another notification flashes across your screen. Let it spark something in you. Let it be the moment you choose to reset. The start of your own pushback against the constant, exhausting pull of distraction. Even the smallest step matters. Even the smallest pause counts. Here's my invitation. Subscribe, stay connected, and let's keep exploring together what it really means to take our minds back. Not in some far-off, hazy future. Not someday when things calm down. Not when life magically gets easier and all the stars align. But right now, in the middle of the chaos, in the middle of the noise, in the middle of your very real, very imperfect life. One choice at a time, one day at a time, one detox at a time. Because the only way to beat distraction is to stop letting it win by default. And the only time you truly have to start is today.